Approximately how many of you are aware of the distinction between payment and settlement? Oh, a couple of them. All right, so let me to provide you with a high-level overview of this situation. Whenever I go to a restaurant and pay with my Visa card, the staff does not call the police to report that I left without paying for my food. Instead, they let me leave without demanding payment. A payment has been made. I still have to pay my credit card account, and somebody still needs to send money to the restaurant, right? Or they could utilize an automated clearinghouse, ACHE, or another payment system that they use. Not yet settled is the payment that was made. Since the beginning of time, the processes of payment and settlement have been totally separated into two distinct systems. SWIFT is a payment mechanism that does not engage in any settlement activities. And the issue with that is that it makes it difficult to successfully complete a payment since, for example, you will not be able to verify the legitimacy of the recipient. There is no guarantee that you will be aware of the costs that will be incurred or the currency rate that will be associated with the payment when it is settled. Consequently, we developed a system that, and the only reason they have been segregated in institutional payments is because of historical reasons. The origins of these systems may be traced back to the days when people had enormous wheels of magnetic tape. During the day, the tape was stored on the transaction computer of the bank, and at night, someone would physically transport it to the settlement computer, which communicated with the other banks. In addition, there was no way to settle throughout the day because the tape had to be on the computer that was managing the transactions at the bank. When it was finished, it had to be transferred to the computer that was used for settlement. This is not a joke. I am being serious. If you take a look at the flashy front-end application for your bank, and it's all really neat, and you can access it on your phone, and it's the 21st century, but you scratch just a couple of layers below the surface, it gives the impression that you have taken a time machine. On the other hand, if you were fortunate enough to be born in the middle to late 970s, you were born during the time when these mechanisms that are responsible for the movement of money were constructed. Even in the event that blockchain technology is utterly unsuccessful and all cryptocurrencies are a failure, the world of payments is going to undergo a transformation because it is bad in the payment department of their company. To put it another way, if you were the owner of a payment company, you would really want to go to any of these new corporations and tell them, hey, let's fire all of your hundreds of payment employees. We will take care of all of your debts. On the other hand, nothing can be done about that. And so if you assume that I want to launch a regional competitor to Airbnb, let's say that I want to do Airbnb only in the Boston area, but I want to take inbound payments from all over the world, the solution cannot be that I hire 100 more payment engineers in order to make that business successful. That is not the appropriate course of action. Undergoes a transformation. Despite the fact that this is broken, someone is going to fix it, and having this opportunity is a wonderful advantage. However, you do not require that. If you were to implement this approach in each and every transaction, you would be able to reduce the cost of each transaction. Isn't that the point of the whole thing? That sums up the entire concept. Exactly, this is what I cherished most about it. It is my opinion that we do not require a currency that is issued on a global scale. The necessity does not exist. However, there is a significant urge to reduce the fees that are associated with the interchange. Whether you require it or not, it is available here in order to avoid cannibalizing themselves. Banks have not been interested in eating their own. To answer your question, when you see pressure like Libra, do all of them come on board very fast and say, okay, wait a second, I'm not going to lose my market share? Some kind of system is going to be in place to carry out what I mentioned, which is the calibration of currencies that are being traded between. I mean, you don't need a Libra to do what you want to do. You are in possession of machines that are capable of monetizing and calibrating the euro to the dollar instantaneously for a couple of basis points, or of yen and everything else. It won't move nearly as much in a few seconds, and the inconvenience will be that you will be required to proceed to sell dollars in order to get XRP, and then proceed to sell XRP in order to acquire pesos. You brought up the quickness of international payments as well as the lack of transparency that exists in the process. Moreover, I suppose that it is similarly prone to errors to a certain degree with SWIFT It would appear that Santander is attempting to address it through the medium of a relationship with Ripple. I am fascinated to know what your ideas are around that. In light of this, I believe that border enforcement is one of the most compelling use cases that are now available. On the other hand, we are aware that the cross-border mediation chains that we use are lengthy, fairly opaque, and quite slow. These things can be pretty expensive. My intuition tells me that technology, if coupled with the necessary protections, has the potential to make a significant difference, and it most likely will. Also, it is possible that it will be through a partnership arrangement. It is not my intention to make a statement regarding any specific strategy, but there are a number of different collaborations out there that are working to innovate, to lessen the frictions that are associated with international transactions, and to raise the transparency of those transactions. There are some good solutions out there that do not require a global stablecoin, and I am fairly hopeful about the possibility that there are some of these alternatives. They were terminating their correspondent relationship in Brazil, and the CEO of one of the top banks in Canada was participating in the process. They are saying things like, look, we don't have enough demand, despite the fact that it is expensive for them to hold Brazilian reals. In light of this, we are going to make use of a correspondent bank. It is no longer necessary for them to have the money that has been pre-funded if they are able to use XRP to enter Brazil. Despite the fact that they do not have the expenses, they are nevertheless able to tackle the problems that their customers have in order to conduct business in Brazil. Around $20 trillion are moving across international borders every single year. It is slow and laden with expensive air rates, as you may already be aware. Quite a pricey item. On the one hand, it's a classic like Silicon Valley going up against the giant Goliath, but on the other hand, it's so broken. To put it another way, when I go talk to banks, it's a wonderful thing for me because banks don't like SWIFT. SWIFT is causing them a great deal of pain. SWIFT is disliked by each of their customers. In the event that you are selling into it, that is an excellent location to be. Is it possible that there are further vertical use cases? Is it possible that if we went back, we could do it differently? Yes, there are times when I find myself wondering about that, but I also believe that we have been so fortunate with a combination of a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill that we have found ourselves with a lot of momentum in, I believe, genuinely solving a problem by utilizing these technologies. Would you like to receive one? Try your luck. In the first place, it is for you, IMF. Do you believe that the IMF will hold cryptocurrency assets in the future? I am not the one who posted that there. Keep in mind that I work in the legal department, which is meant to be quite conservative when it comes to matters like this. Regarding maybe I should take what the International Monetary Fund is going to do. I do not want to get into great depth about it. I believe that we were able to silence Ross with that one in particular. In order for it to take place, that is to say, according to the existing legal structure, a nation would be required to utilize a crypto asset as its currency first. Institutions Joey and I were in